Good day. This is Blakey Chayana. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to the channel, and thank you to everyone who has watched the previous videos. Please make sure that you subscribe and you select that you get notifications so that you do not miss the content. So today, I want us to talk about a period just prior to taking treatment. Specifically from year 2005 to year 2007. So in 2005, I had just stopped working in East London, so I moved to Port Elizabeth, where I did a job of being a meter taxi driver, meaning I was driving meter taxis in Port Elizabeth. I stayed in Forest Hill, so I was driving, and that meant access to booze like nobody's business. And I was drinking almost every single day. I worked mostly Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and up to Sunday I would work night shift, and then Monday up to Wednesday I would work day shifts. So because those when I worked day, those used to be less paying, if I can put it that way. So I made more money on the night shifts from Thursday, and I was drinking, as I said. So PE is one of those places where I can say I became a drunkard. Also because, even where I stayed, I won't say who I was staying with, but where I stayed, it was easy because there were people who were coming in. The house was always full of visitors, and those people were drinking. So basically, I had access to booze like nobody's business, and I drank like a fish. Let's fast forward to 2006. Early 2006, I went to Queenstown. I stayed in Queenstown. I wasn't drinking as much in Queenstown because I stayed with my mom and my grandparents. Then Devon happened. Wow, where do I start? Devon. So Devon is it's another aspect of my life that when I talk about, people get shocked. Devon was booze. Devon was about partying. Devon was about a nice time, but also Devon was about drugs. I got into drugs, guys. I'm not talking dacha. Dacha was my everyday thing. I'm talking hard stuff. To the verge of being addicted to those drugs. And one other thing that I can say, mental health crept in again when I was in Devon. Because I remember during all this thing, I felt lonely. Devon, I somehow, when I was in Devon, I had this longing to be home, to be back in the Eastern Cape. I felt I didn't belong in Devon. I felt I wasn't fitting in, I had friends, but still, I had people who were coming from the Eastern Cape that I used to go with, but still, I didn't feel at home. I didn't feel like a place where I would stay. I felt lonely when I was in Devon. I'm not justifying my drug problem by so saying. I ran into drugs because I wanted a refuge. So I used drugs to escape the loneliness. Devon again is when, as I said, I think I nearly lost my marbles and my life. The drugs meant sometimes I wouldn't have rent money, sometimes I wouldn't have groceries. There was a time I even used to sleep at the garage. I would park my car at the garage and sleep there. But none of my co-workers and friends knew of the challenges that I was facing. The only person who got to know that I was facing challenges when I was in Devon was Upasman Manoto, who had visited Devon and got to see a glimpse of my life. So Durban became this well ball, that was just growing. It was a ball that was growing of different things: partying, booze, girls, drugs, you name it. There's no party that happened for where my coworkers were, if they had a party that I was not part of. I traveled all over. I would travel for parties. I would travel. I didn't care, basically. I just I just did things that I was not supposed to do. So to an extent, I think in December, for 2 weeks, I stayed in my room. I don't remember taking a bath in those 2 weeks. I don't remember what I used to eat in those 2 weeks, but I know I never went to work, nor did I leave the house in those 2 weeks when I had locked myself in my room. Up until my family, Uspelo, and other members of the Gova family came to Durban for Christmas, and they discovered that I was shut up in my room and had locked myself up, and that's when they decided to take me home. So I never left Durban out of my own will. I was forced to leave Durban. They took me home after New Year, I think on the second or third, the second. So here I am getting to Queenstown on the 2nd of January 2007 now. 3rd of January, we drive with my younger brother, my late younger brother, to Carriedo to stock some fruit. Coming back on the 4th, as we are getting into Queenstown, we have an accident with my brother. The truck overturns. It was a midi truck. This Hyundai midi trucks. It overturned, and I think the idea or the thought of losing my brother in an accident where I was driving kind of gave me a wake up call. And seeing my mother come in frantically, the only thing that she was saying, my children, she didn't care about the truck. She didn't care about the stock that we were carrying. She only cared about her children. So I think that specifically became my turning point. Remember, this is the same mom. If you remember the first video where we were sharing about living with HIV, this is the same woman who, when she heard that I was HIV positive, she left the room, and I became, I lost hope. And when she came back, she gave me hope. So this is the second time now that she's giving me hope again, in my life, which emphasizes what I was saying about family support and love. So yeah, I digress there. So from there, I started, my friends, some few doctors who were my friends, were begging me to start treatment. Having known of my drug problems and everything that I did in the previous 2 years, so they were begging me to start ARVs, and I said no. I vehemently refused. My family was on my case as well to start treatment. Up until Dr. Ndaba Ulbabalo just decided, chap, I'm giving you this treatment. It's up to you whether you decide to take it or not, or when you're going to decide to take it. So I went home with treatment that I wasn't sure whether I was going to take or not. So a few days passed with the treatment. Then on the 20th of January 2007, that's when I started my treatment. That's when I started taking ARVs. Now, other people, when they take ARVs, they have what we call immune reconstruction syndrome. This is the syndrome where you get sick not because it's the treatment that's making you sick. No. What happens is the treatment is helping your immune system to recover, to rebuild. So when your immune system rebuilds, it then identifies that there are illnesses that are already there in your body. Now, when your immune system realizes that there are these illnesses, it then develops antibodies. So if you have pneumonia, TB, and let's say 4 or 5 illnesses in your body, your immune system is not going to start focusing on only one illness that is in your body. It is going to to develop antibodies for all the 4 illnesses that are there. So here you are having your immune system trying to fight 4 diseases at once, and all these illnesses are fighting back. So what then usually kills people during that period is not treatment, but it's the fact that the immune system is rebuilding and trying to fight all these illnesses that are there at the same time, which are fighting back. So your immune system, because it's still not as strong, it then gets defeated. So this is what usually kills people during that period when they start treatment. So I was not immune to that. I also had immune reconstruction syndrome, where there were illnesses like TB, pneumonia, and others that came to the fore. But before I get into the hospital stays and everything, let me talk about the lighter thing that happened. Remember, I was on efavirenz, on an efavirenz-based treatment regimen. So, efavirenz is known to cause people to hallucinate. If you listen to people that have taken a regimen that is based on efavirenz, they'll tell you of different things that they saw. So I saw what I thought was a navy blue gorilla in the early morning when I woke up in my room. This day, I was in my room, just about to wake up. When I look, it's still a little bit dark. So when I look out, I'm like, damn, there's a gorilla sitting between me and the door on my bed. And I became scared. Remember, it's me, gorilla, door. I can't scream for help. I can't ask people to come and help me, because I had heard stories about gorillas and how they can snap a human in half like a twig. So basically, here's a gorilla sitting on my bed, and the only way out is via the door, and I have to go through or go past this gorilla. So I pulled my blankets over my head, and I was shaking and I was sweating like hell. So I could hear my family members talking, in the other rooms, but I can't scream. Here's the thing. I'm thinking to myself, if I scream, this thing is going to kill me. So I might as well just wait for it to decide whether it's leaving or it's going to sit there for the whole day. After what felt like eternity, I decided, no, you know what? Let me just take a peek. Peeped out of my blankets, looked down again. Here what? There's a navy blue continental pillow on the bed. So when I went to sleep, I put the continental pillow there, and when I woke up, because I was in a state of disillusionment, if I can put it that way, I thought that continental pillow was a gorilla. So that's the story. But now let's go back. When I started the treatment, I remember I said I had problems with other illnesses. So I was admitted in hospital. So when I got admitted in hospital, I had difficulties breathing. I had, quite a lot of issues that I was dealing with. I would get discharged in hospital on Friday, and Sunday I'm back. Discharged on Wednesday, Thursday I'm back. That's how severe things were. And when I was home, I used to sleep upright, sitting on a sofa. Because if I slept flat, then I would struggle to breathe. That continued for a few months, and my family was taking care of me, during that time. My mom was there, my aunt was there, my uncle was there, they were with me during all this time. And again, they really took care of me. Now, this other time, things got bad that I had to be taken to. There was a guy, Professor Magwa, who was a herbalist. Not a herbalist, I think a homeopath, based in Fort Beaufort. So they needed to take me to him. So on our way, I remember, before we left, my aunt had on a don that was made of coconut. And because I had this breathing problem, anything that smelled, that had a strong smell, it would block me. I wouldn't be able to breathe. So my aunt had to go and take a shower again so that scent would be washed away. So on our way from Queenstown to Port Elizabeth, we're using my aunt's car, to Fort Beaufort, sorry, and we got to Fort Beaufort. Oh, we called Dr. Nojogo. My doctor was based in PE. We called him and to tell they were telling him that they're taking me to Prof and I'm a bit bad. And Dr. Nojogo said when we get to Prof, then let's get to Prof to call him because they work together. So Prof gave me some of the herbs when I arrived, but there was this one herb that was not there. So he had to go to his workplace to get it. During that period when Prof had left, my condition became worse. I was taken to Fort Beaufort Hospital where they administered oxygen and put me on the nebulizer. So during this time, my mom called my stepfather who sent another car. I think because the car that we were using was smaller but also a bit slower. So they sent another car. My uncle came with the other car that was going to take us to PE because the aim now was to take me to Dr. Nojogo in Port Elizabeth. My uncle arrived with the other car and we left. It was me, him and my mom. On the way, my uncle was driving like a maniac. I think he was panicking. But one thing, during this whole ordeal, I didn't want to keep quiet. I didn't want to sleep because I felt that if I sleep or I keep quiet, I'm going to die. I felt like I was dying. So for me to not die in my mind, I needed to keep on talking. And I was talking nonsense. So basically, all the way from Fort Beaufort to Port Elizabeth, I was talking non-stop. Got to PE, and I had to direct my uncle and my mom because they don't know how to get to Kwadwesi. So I have to direct them, and sometimes I would black out whilst directing them, and a lot happened then. But eventually we got to Kwadwesi, to Dr. Nojogo's practice. When we got there, I remember, I think I saw Dr. Nojogo getting shocked by the sight that he was seeing. But because it's him and he's used to such cases, he didn't show. He took some bloods, did a lot of tests. Fortunately, he had a lab inside the surgery. So he took bloods and did some examinations. What worried him was that my nails had turned a little bit blue and my tongue also had turned a little bit blue. I remember him asking me, Blakey, what keeps you alive? He was not saying this as a way of giving up. No, but he was saying, you are such a fighter. You refuse to die. Sorry. So he then said, no. One thing that he saw when the results came was that my blood oxygen level were very low. And he explained that medically or scientifically, below a certain level, I should have gone, either I should have lost consciousness and I should have, I shouldn't be walking, I shouldn't be able to talk and all that. But here I was, talking and walking, even though I was leaning on my uncle and my mom to get in. So a decision was made that I needed to be admitted. My family was willing to pay for me to be admitted at a private hospital because I didn't have medical aid. And Dr. Nojogo said, no, Dorangenza it is. So he found a bed for me in Dorangenza and I was admitted, put on oxygen 24/7, put on nebulizers for the whole, 24/7. There are a lot of stories that happened in Dorangenza. One of them is that both nurses and doctors who were working there thought I was a doctor because I had doctors visiting me, private doctors, private GPs from PE, Dr. Nochoko, Dr. Tebelele, I'm not sure, I think Dr. Pepeta as well. Just a few other doctors who were my friends back then. So they used to visit me in hospital. And also my knowledge around HIV and around treatment and medical terms convinced them that I was not just any patient. I remember an incident where this young doctor had to take bloods from me to check my blood oxygen level, and he wanted to take the blood from the vein. And I said, no, you must take the blood directly from the artery. And so what then happened is we had a scuffle or an argument about that. And I said, it's either you take it from the artery or you do not take the blood at all. So ultimately, he took it from the artery. And when the consultant came later on together with other student doctors and the one who they were taking bloods, apparently had reported about the scuffle that we had. And they had a discussion, and after that, the consultant really, they agreed that no, you need to take the bloods from the artery for blood for blood oxygen. So that made concrete the assumption that I was a doctor. But here's the thing: during my stay at Doranginza, I didn't have morning erections. Okay, didn't have erections at all, but not just morning erections. I could look at the beautiful nurses and nothing would happen. I could imagine everything. Nothing would happen, and that is a problem. Any man who will tell you that for us to know that we're healthy, we look at erections. It's one of the ways we check our health as men. So here I am. I had been admitted from April. It was April to September, August, September, I think. So 75% of the time I stayed in that hospital. I had no erections at all. And that frustrated me to hell and back. And I would try, I won't get into details about the things that I tried, but I tried to get an erection, nothing would happen. Up until this specific day, this specific morning, I woke up. I don't know what made me to look down. And when I looked down, damn, there are tents there. So meaning the thing is up again. I sprang out of bed. Literally jumped out of bed. Praising or singing like praise to my private parts. Reciting my clan names and ran straight to the loo. Because I wanted to be sure. And when I got my assurance that yes, I had an erection, I came back. When I came out of that loo, I was shouting that Ivukile, I had an erection. And everybody was laughing in the ward. So the big strike of 2007 happened, the nurses strike that happened in 2007, and I had to be discharged from hospital. But the fact that I had my erection back meant to me that I was well. So I could face the outside world. I went to stay with my brother, Ukobani, and Bulelani, and other friends, Jongo Vuyo Nganyo. I'm specific about mentioning them because during that period, they really took care of me. They made sure that I was taken care of, that I had everything that I needed. And after that, the agreement that we had, that Kobani had with my mom, was that Queenstown was still cold. So he didn't want me to go back to Queenstown in that condition, where it was still cold. So he wanted me to recuperate in PE where it was warmer. And I think I left when Queenstown became a little bit warmer again. So My CD4 count was now rising, and my viral load was suppressed. Again, I really I had to make a lot of lifestyle changes, but I struggled with alcohol and cigarettes. I won't lie. I struggled with those two. I couldn't stop. And I remember I would steal cigarettes. I would buy cigarettes and hide them from Kabani and Bulelani because if they were to see them, they would kill me, literally. So I would hide cigarettes from them. I wanted to smoke. Even though I had spent almost 3 or 4 months in hospital, when I came out, the first thing that I wanted to do was to smoke. So I would hide cigarettes, and they would really deny me booze, or they would just allow me one glass of wine. So I would also steal booze, when I stayed with them, and but from that period of studying ARVs, when I went back to the hospital and they said my viral load had improved, and my no, my viral load had suppressed, and my CD4 count was improving, I felt that I was given a third chance in life or a fourth chance in life. After everything that I had done. So I want to today what I wanted us to take out from the story is the fact that again my family came through for me during that time, that difficult period of time. Their support when I started treatment made a difference. Their support when I had immune reconstruction syndrome was the difference. Their support when I was discharged from hospital, even when I was in hospital, the visits, my family would drive from Queenstown to Port Elizabeth to visit me almost every second weekend because Kobani was there. Kobani used to come every single day to visit. Kobani and Bulelani and Njongo Vuyo that I've mentioned earlier. They would come every single day to visit. They alternated. I had friends again, like Abo Cindy, who were coming every single day. So again, I had this support system or support structure that was there for me during my hospitalization, and all the doctors that used to come, and all the friends that used to call me to give me strength, to check up on me, to check how I was doing, and these friends who were my doctors used to discuss my condition amongst themselves so that they would give the best treatment or they would give the best advice on how to treat me. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about was how my doctor friends used to sneak in stronger antibiotics. I won't mention their names, which ones, which doctor smuggled treatment into my hospital ward, but they snuck in stronger antibiotics for me. So I had to now find a way of when I'm given my treatment to drink by the nurses, that I do not drink the antibiotics that were being provided by the government, and I would then find time to drink my antibiotics, the ones that were snuck in by the doctors. That helped me because the antibiotics that they were bringing were quite hard. Or no, they were good and stronger. So yeah. So in a nutshell, I survived those 3 years through support, through my family support. And the reason I mentioned the 2 years is because I believe had I taken care of my health in 2005 and 2006 and not gotten into alcohol abuse, drug abuse and all that, and took good care of my health during those years, I don't think I would have started treatment in 2007. I would have stayed longer without treatment if I had taken my care of my body. So my advice, if you have just been diagnosed or if you're not on treatment, please make sure that you take good care of your body. Do not do drugs. Make sure that you cut on alcohol. make sure that you eat healthy, you exercise, keep your body healthy at all times. That assists your body to develop its natural defenses. So if you are not on treatment as yet, please take good care of your health. And once you start treatment, please expect that you might have what we call immune reconstruction syndrome. So thank you. That's all for today. Please remember to subscribe and link and share the link with your friends for them to subscribe. And please make sure that you comment so that we engage on the comments as well. So thank you so much. I wish you health and I wish you happiness. Thank you and goodbye.